Hi, Pastor Nathan Decker with your hashtag Better Together devotion for today. This week, I want to focus on looking back a little bit at some of our heritage. I'm a United Methodist, and so one of the questions that we often ask as mainline denominations since about the 1960s is what used to work? What made revivals take place? What was it about that context, and what was going on that made the early United Methodist Church take off so fast, like a wildfire across the United States and things like that, and what was going on in England in that regard? So this week I want to focus on that, and the first one is kind of one that most people don't realize, and that is that the emotional reaction and the emotional connection that was taking place in early Methodism was overwhelming and sensational to people. Now, understand this, that this was among the English, prim and proper type folks, who in their faith walk had been very Anglican, and they'd been through several different understandings of Christianity at this point in their history. They had fought civil wars over religion, or at least using it as a scapegoat to go kill each other and have power. And throughout all of that, somehow there was not an emotional or vitriolic connection to it. There was not an essence thing that was hitting them here. So when John Wesley started preaching out in the fields among everyday people, and going and taking church beyond the walls, beyond the four walls, into the community, it struck people with such emotion. In fact, it was considered a slur when a lot of critics would look at the Methodist revival in England and say, oh, they're so emotional. And I look at our church today. I look at one of the aspects that we have lost is that understanding that faith is something that hits you here. We need to be about sharing emotion. We need to be about sharing how God's love has touched us. And we do that in a way, we shed a tear when we sing songs like He Touched Me or Amazing Grace or moments in our lives, but we also need to be about sharing that with each other. When the Methodist groups would meet together in small groups, they would ask questions of each other. And some of the questions were how is it with your soul? What's going on with you? Is kind of how the way I like to word it is this: where have you seen God at work in your life recently that touched you? It really affected you and touched you. We were an emotional group early on. And maybe we've become exactly what John Wesley was trying to revive, a church that doesn't have so much emotion anymore. And maybe we need to reclaim some of that. Not for drama, we got plenty of that around, but for connecting with our spirit, connecting with God, connecting with God's love, connecting with the love we have for each other. Get emotional about faith. Get connected emotionally with God and with one another. Share how you feel. Share the last time that you felt the presence of God overwhelm you. Share your tears and your joy. Share your celebration and your mourning. Get emotional and be better together. Amen.